Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's episode of Game Poke. Now today we're going to talk about the Atari, more specifically the Atari 2600. Now, out of all the 8-bit machines of the olden days, the most retro and all that, the Atari is probably the most iconic, yet let's face it, the graphics and gameplay are a bit shit. Yet we still love it. Why? I mean, half the time you are a fucking square or you are a fucking triangle. You're lucky if you're a triangle, because that was some futuristic graphics there if you're a fucking triangle. But today I want to show you my Atari 2600 collection. I don't have hundreds and hundreds of games, so we can go through all of them pretty quick, because the games are pretty basic. But, as I say, they're still pretty cool. Anyway, first I want to say about how I came to own an Atari 2600, because it's a very strange story. I once had a job where I had to decorate and refurbish this flat apartment. It was a flat above a shop. I think it was a butcher's or something, doesn't really matter. Anyway, it was rented out by students. The students were idiots. They had somehow caused a fire and they had burnt this flat to shit. There was nothing left. Everything was black, melted. I did actually see a melted television. That was pretty impressive. The screen had just gone womp. The surrounding plastic had gone blur. The carpet was wrecked with dried plasticky shit everywhere if it hadn't been burnt to fuck. So it was quite an impressive fuck up for some students. When me and my group of people got there to do the job to fix it all up, the first thing we had to do was throw everything out because it was fucked. And the landlord had said if you find any student stuff, anything that belonged to the students, you can have it. Because they owed him a lot of money, obviously, and magically, none of them were answering their phones. They'd all disappeared. He couldn't get through to any of them. So he said, if there's anything you want out of that shite, you can have it. One guy went in and he found a jacket. He said, mine? Like, fuck. Alright, it's yours. Another guy went in and what did he find? Oh, it might have been a phone or something. We're all like, hey, you bastard. His. And we're all about to walk out thinking there's nothing left. And I said, oh, wait, has anyone checked the loft? And they're like, no, we forgot to check the loft space. I'm like, alright. Dibs on anything I find. They go, fine, fuck you. Went up there. Bear in mind, this flat was pretty barren. It was just stuff that was destroyed by fire and a few odds and sods that no bugger really wanted, bar a jacket and a phone. Went into the loft. I found 2 sofas, 4 bags of golf clubs, hundreds and hundreds of clothing items, tons of shit. I found Meccano. I found a gun. Found an actual gun. That was a bit of a pain trying to get rid of that. And I found in the corner a 3DO console with a few games. I didn't keep that. I flogged it. What a shit console the 3DO was. But I also found next to it an Atari 2600 Junior with 2 games, which I'll show you what the games were when we're going through the collection in a bit. This Atari 2600 was in a shoebox. It had 2 controllers, your basic wires, and the Atari 2600 Junior has like a metal, well, it looks metal, it's still plastic, but plastic strip across the middle. This Atari 2600 Junior still had the cellophane on that. So I got to peel that off, like, yeah. It's like opening a new wrapper, like when you buy a pack of Pokemon cards, open a pack and go, not that I do that. No, I do it with manga books. When I buy a new manga, I have to sniff it. I'm not ashamed. Anyway, that's the story of how I came across my console. I now have a proper Atari 2600 with a decent setup to a 1977 black and white telly. Why black and white? Because I wanted to go as retro as fuck. I love that little setup I have downstairs. It's really cool. I was thinking of taking the console up here to show you now, but I had bought some special clips that don't fix the console to a telly but keep it in place, and I thought, I can't be fucked to undo them. So bollocks, just show you the footage of it downstairs. Anyway, the collection of games is this. It's literally a box with cardboard shelves across. I stole the idea from James Rolfe of Angry Video Game Nerd. In his earlier videos you see him with something like this. I thought that'll fucking do. All the shelving I built for all the other games, Master System, NES and all that. And for Atari I thought I want to make it look like, I don't know, like you would have it if you were a kid. Anyway, we'll go for all the games. They're not quite alphabetical because these are ones I've recently played and I haven't put them in the right place because I'm a shit person. So let's just go with the first one. The first one is Adventure. This was the first game in video game history to have an Easter egg. It also holds a pretty big part in the book Ready Player One. The film I don't know because I still refuse to fucking watch it. This game, you are literally a fucking square. You start off in a castle. The aim of the game is to get a chalice at the end and bring it back to the castle. It's very fun. It's really well thought out. I love this. This is one of my favourite Atari 2600 games. The artwork is a bit derp. I mean, that dragon is fucking weird. But then again, the dragons in the game, they look like ducks. Demented ducks. But what can you do with them graphics? You're fucking limited to what you can do. Next game. Missile Command. Missile Command. This again is one of my favourite Atari 2600 games. That's what these top ones are, really. The ones I play the most, that's why they're there. I got a stupidly high score on this recently. I can't remember what it was. I'll see if I can find the picture. I took a picture of it on my wife's iPod because I couldn't find mine, so I won't be able to find a picture of that. Shit, I'll have to get that sometime. I could play this forever. Determined to beat the score. It's one of them games where you go, oh, I fucked it! Right, I'm going to do it again! Straight away without thinking. The graphics are basic, but then again, the arcade game itself is pretty basic. The artwork is stupid. It looks like something out of that film War Games. It really does. I highly recommend this game if you are into Atari or thinking of trying Atari. This is one that's worth having a go at. Here's something different. Warlords. I've only just got this game. This is the latest one I've added to my Atari collection. I've only played it a little bit because you have to play it with the paddle controllers. I'm not a huge fan of them, that's just my taste. In case anyone's wondering, I'm the kind of guy that you would think, because I'm a Sega fiend, I would use a Sega Mega Drive / Sega Genesis controller on my Atari, but don't. I like to make it authentic. I use the proper Atari controller, which is a bit wank. But I don't like the paddle controls at all. Just don't. And this is reliant on it. It's one of them defend your castle type of games. Not really a one-player game. Maybe that's why I haven't been able to get into it, because none of my friends want to fucking play Atari. It's too basic for them. Oh! Just put that back. This is an awesome game. Ghostbusters. It's very strange because one of the first games I ever owned was Ghostbusters on the Master System. Which, there's Ghostbusters on the Master System, NES, and this. And they're all the same fucking game, really. But with very different level of graphics, of course. Master System's got the best graphics, but I hated that game as a kid. Couldn't get anywhere. NES one, I haven't played, but I've heard it's pretty shit. Probably the worst out of the three. You'd think this is the worst because of graphics? It's not. This is the most fun, in my opinion. Best part is, on the other Ghostbusters games, the end section, or level as it were, you've got to go up them fucking staircases, which is a cunt. In this, it's not in there. That part of the game has been cut out. If you can get past the Stay Puft Marshmallow dude, that's the end of the game, you've won. The rest of the game is skill, but when you get to that marshmallow cunt, that's luck. But I still really like this game. It's great fun. It's the most graphically impressive one I own, maybe? Potentially. Very fun game. Worth trying. Ah ha 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 ha. Asteroids. What can you say about Asteroids? For one thing, the artwork looks very, very Star Wars. And oh look, this one came out the year I was born, 1987. Because I'm young at heart. Oh my fuck. This is, again, one of my fave games on the console, and the funny thing is, I prefer this to its arcade counterpart so much. The arcade one, I can get really fucked off and irritated with. This one, I can just turn my fucking brain off and play it forever. I once tried to get the highest score possible. I had got to, excuse me if I've got this wrong, but it was like 99,999. I was about to get one more point. I'm there with my little iPod Touch to take a picture of the score on the screen. Ready to do it. Score one more point. Went boop, 0. Fuck. I rolled the count around. I thought, there's no point taking a photo now because it looks like I haven't scored anything. Shit. So apparently I'm good enough at the game to make it look like that I'm terrible at the game. Yay! Winning at life. Moving on a bit quicker now. Everything's falling apart. I'm so good at life. Dig Dug. You ever played Dig Dug? This is the Atari version, obviously. Ooh, it's a weird one. It's a very weird one. I let my son play a lot of Atari games because they're so simple for children to pick up. If you want to get your kids into retro gaming, your young kids, we're talking like 3 or whatever, get an Atari, give them the controller, they'll play fucking anything and they'll love it. My son could not figure this one out. Fun game, but it's not one of them ones you can get a kid to try, really. Aha! Secret Quest. This is the other game I have very recently got. The artwork, again, is stupid. It's like a Power Ranger with a lightsaber against a dinosaur. Never thought I would say that. It's like Zelda. It's a Zelda clone before Zelda came out. No, that's not right. When did Zelda come out? Came out in 87, but it was made in 86. This game, despite being on a much older console, came out in 89, according to what it says here, anyway, on the sticker. By Nolan Bushnell. This was made by Nolan Bushnell. You would think that I'd have paid attention to that beforehand, but I didn't because I'm very, very shit as a person. The game is weird. You get so far on the level and you get timed. And I couldn't figure out what you're timed against. But it's of its own breed. If you get sick of Atari being arcade this and square person that, try that one. Ah! Alien, as in Alien from my favourite fucking film of all time. One of them anyway. I have 3 favourite films of all time. Alien, Terminator 1 and Evil Dead 2. Awesome films, love them to pieces. The game is a meh. It's a fucking Pac-Man clone that's fairly bollocks. You get to a bonus level where you got to get from one side to the other. I can't remember what's on the other side. There's aliens coming along all the time. I have never been able to make it across, and I used to think I was so shit for not being able to do it. Then I saw Mike Matei from Cinemassacre have a go on a Let's Play, and he couldn't do it. And as far as collectors go, while he collects a shit ton of NES, he plays a shit ton of NES, he's completed some very hard games and some very hard Atari games, he couldn't fucking do it. So if he can't do it, then I can't be that flaming shit now, can I? P.S. When it comes to games that are really difficult to complete, I know he's completed loads, and one of the ones, I don't know if he's done it now, but he once said he hasn't completed Transformers on the Famicom. I have. I'm never playing it again, no, so don't you dare request it for a Let's Play, because fuck me, I'm already running low on sanity as it is. Next game is one that's hiding from everyone. It's Berserk! It's Berserk! This is a cult classic. The artwork, again, stupid. You are a man from what looks like Battlestar Galactica shooting a robot in awesome, cool graphics. Then you play the game and you're running away from a smiley face. It's true. Then we have Canyon Bomber. It's what you see there. As you can tell, the artwork is phenomenal. Don't buy this one. It's not a lot of fun. Then we go to a game I've actually covered in a Sega Head episode. For that episode, there'll be a link on the top there if you'd like to see more about Sega and Atari, because this is a fucking Sega game. See, logo, Sega. This game is incredibly fun, although I can't deny the first time I played it, I couldn't figure out what the fuck you were supposed to do. Which is why in that Sega Head episode I tried to reenact my sheer confusion on how the hell to play it. I did eventually figure it out, I know how to play it, and it is actually really fun. When you know how to do it. Recommend it. I don't think this one is all that cheap though, or easy to find. Which is a bit of a shame. Then we finally have one of the first games I ever got for the Atari. This is one of the 2 games that was in the box for the Atari 2600 Junior. It's fucking Centipede. The artwork on this is weird. Yeah, I mean, Centipede, it looks like some sort of mecha monster against a hobbit. Centipede is a classic to my knowledge. It was I don't think it was one of the first, but all I know is the game was originally famous because it was made by a lady, made by a woman, and back then that wasn't a thing. You know, nowadays, big deal. But then, it was, I guess. Right, next game is one that I have 2 copies of. I don't know why, I must have got one in a fucking bundle somewhere. There's Combat. What do you say about Combat? There, it's a game that's 2 player yes, 1 player no, and you're tanks. The Game after that is one that's actually worth talking about. A fucking Defender. Defender. The artwork is pretty cool. I have to say, that is some awesome shit. That is some great artwork. And the funny thing is, this is one of the more graphically outstanding games, because the whole side-scrolling as your shooter goes, it was sort of revolutionary towards shooters. Just when people were thinking shooters are all being the same thing, whether you're shooting from below, upwards, or from the side that way, this one's like, yeah, well now the shit around you moves, bitch. It looks like you're moving, rather than just you're there and aliens coming towards you. Fantastic shooter. Speaking of fantastic shooters, this is one where the artwork is non-existent. It's reflective plastic. Fucking Demon Attack. It's hard. I'm not very good at this one because it all happens so damn fast. It's a shooter, again. Really good one, though. If you can get a deal on it, try it. I don't know if there's other artwork designs this one. It's really weird. The cartridge. Strange. Anyway, the next one. Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong. This game was given to me by some rando person I was working for. I was talking about retro games. He said, oh, did you have an Atari? I got an Atari now. Love it, mate. He says, my Atari died and I'm trying to get rid of the games. I said, oh, what do you want for them? He said, no, nothing. I just want them to go somewhere where they're not going to get thrown out. I'll have them. And this is one of the ones he gave me, Donkey Kong. It's really fun. It's really difficult. Donkey Kong, the character, looks like a squashed E.T. swamp monster. My son saw me playing this. He's like, what are you playing, Dad? I said, I'm playing Donkey Kong. He's like, that's not Donkey Kong. I said, well, I agree, that thing on top of the fucking building or whatever, no, it doesn't look like Donkey Kong, but it is. He's like, you're wrong, Daddy. You're wrong. Okay. Next game is one that I heard was so bad I just had to try it myself. Double Dragon. Look at the artwork for this. I mean, you can't even see it. Hang on. There. That's the artwork. Isn't it fucking awesome? Excuse me while I quickly readjust the lighting there. This is terrible. It's fucking terrible. I even had to make my own label for the side because there's nothing fucking on it. It feels so cheap. And yet it's made by bloody Activision. Yet the case is none of them feel as cheap as this one. It just feels so crap. And the sticker is wonky. But the gameplay is fucking equally bad. I mean, it's the worst edition of fucking Double Dragon you ever did see. It's shit. You can have 3 bloody sprites on the screen at a time, and it has to scroll because it just can't fucking handle it. But you won't be able to handle it either, because you'll probably be lucky to kill one fucking bad guy before you die. This is shit! If anyone wants a really bad game to request to the Angry Video Game Nerd, tell him to fucking do this one, because it is poor! Next game. I'm talking bad games again. It's fucking E.T. Yes, I had to get a copy of it because science. I had to see how bad it was, and I regret it. The game's fucking terrible. I'm not going into it any further. Freeway is the next one. The artwork is very basic. Made by Activision, which is a bit worrying after the whole Double Dragon debacle, innit? Really fun 2-player game. It's basically it's a game of chicken. Run across the road. Not like Frogger, but you got to run across without getting squashed like Frogger. So I suppose there's similarities with that. Fun game, 2-player. Not really a 1-player thing. What have we got next? Oh! Talk to the devil. It's fucking Frogger. Which, by the way, it's a Sega game. And a really good one. Highly recommend trying it. Well, let's be fair. Anyone that's really into video games, I mean deeply into video games, has played some form of Frogger game. You just have. As a kid, the first one I got to play was one my sister owned. She owned Frogger 3D, I think it was called, on the PS1. Fucking hell, she played that for hours. She loved it. And I've got this one. Yay! The Atari one! What's next? Golf! Oh, bad game. Look at the artwork. Brilliant. It's impossible. It's not golf. It's shit, is what it is. The Angry Video Game Nerd. I'm talking about him a lot today, aren't I? It must be because of the whole Atari thing. He did a video on Atari games, and it was Atari Sports, which is my favourite video he's ever done. And he just said it perfectly on this game. I'm not going to do any injustice to it. Next one, Haunted House. Really cool artwork on this one. You won't be able to see it here, so I'll put it across there. Haunted House. First time I played it, I couldn't figure out where the fuck to go. I did not understand it. You need a booklet or you need some sort of text help to get you through this one, but it is really fun. And if you're into Atari, this is one of them ones that's of its own breed again. You're not just a bullshit shape or another space game or any of that crap. Very worth trying. Next one, Joust, with some of the weirdest fucking artwork you ever did see. The Atari version of Joust, it's alright, it's not bad, but with the Atari joystick, it's a little bit difficult. If you're playing with the Sega controller, because when I got this game, I couldn't do it and I thought the game was beyond shit. Then I was fair, tried it with my Sega Mega Drive controller, and I was able to do it so much easier. It can be played, just not with the console's main controller, which is a bit daft. Next game is the other game that I got with my Atari 2600 Junior. Junior Pac-Man! Junior Pac-Man! Not Pac-Man, but Junior, his son. What a great game. I love this one. This is probably the best Pac-Man game on the system. Colourful, graphically appealing, gameplay, flows really well. Yeah, great game, worth trying. Next one, Kaboom! This, unfortunately, is one of them games where you have to use the paddle controllers. So it's not my sort of game. It is a good one. Out of all the paddle controller games, this is one I could stand to play. I think it's Michael Mattei from Cinemassacre again. I think this is his favourite Atari 2600 game. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I reckon it is. They once did an Atari special that spanned like 5 videos on Cinemassacre, and in one of them, he plays this. Oh my god, the guy's reactions are shit hot. He was amazing. You even see James Rolfe sitting next to him, watching him go back and forth. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, he just owned this fucking game. Anyway, next one. Iconic. Fucking Mario Bros. Why am I doing accents all of a sudden? Mario Bros. This game is fantastic. Who played this a little while ago? Ian, my friend Ian played this recently. And he was shit. But to be fair, the jump on this game, with the controller, you really gotta get that fucking angle or you're gonna stack it. It's not a very simple game with that wanky controller, but you can master it. You can be playing this forever. This is one of them games you can just plug it in and you'll be playing for hours. Well, let's be fair, it's Atari. You'll be playing for minutes, but that's longer than most other games because they're pretty short. Here's a different kind of game, Mountain King. What awesome artwork it possesses. Platformer, like Mario Bros. This is one with no timer, no real level thing. You can endlessly play this, and if you enjoy glitches and fucking with the system of a game, you can experiment with this bastard for quite a while. Next game is iconically bollocks. Pac-Man. The Atari 26 version of Pac-Man is piss. It's rotten. It's one of the games that, let's face it, it pretty much killed the console. At least that's what's rumoured. This and E.T., plus very poor decisions by Atari, are what contributed to the video game crash in America on 1983. We didn't really have that here in the UK, but this and E.T. were two of the big reasons for that happening. They were not the reasons, but they were definitely part of it. Next one is another game you should all be familiar with. The bottom shelf's a bit tough to get these ones out. It's fucking q-bert! Weird little bastard that's made it into several retro game films as of late. What was he in? Wreck-It Ralph and Pixels. The amount of times I heard people go, who's that little orange fucker? That's fucking q-bert, mate. Who's q-bert? You show him the gameplay and they're like, q-bert! No, I don't remember. This is one of them games that just sort of slipped away throughout the years. It just disappeared. We had all the re-releases, revisionings of Pac-Man and Tetris and all that just kept coming out and evolving. And q-bert seemed to have died along the way. It didn't get revamped. It didn't get restyled. Fun game and entirely its own creature. Own beast, own life. Great game, worth trying. Next one, yeah, oh dear. Fuck. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Mine was a bit beaten up, so you probably didn't see that very well. The artwork is obviously a snapshot from the film. Well, it's not a snapshot, sorry. It's an artwork from the film. This game is its own beast indeed. I fucking hell. I have no idea what to do without going on YouTube to see. Back in the day, if you got this when it was new, you could probably adventure and piss around and fuck with the fabrics of the world forever. Nowadays you put this in and you go, I don't know what I'm doing, fuck this! Bit of a shame because it is a good game, it is. Here's one that is also a good game, if I can get that one in. River Raid! Very colourful, very fun, very short because you're going to die a lot and you're going to die a lot very quick. But if you're into Atari, or you want to get into Atari, you need to have this one. You also need to have this next one because it's stupid. Smurf. Not Smurfs. Smurf. Yeah. It's a weird one. The jumping on this is pretty bollocks at times. I think there's you get to a bit where there's a fence. It's like the second screen or something even. You have to learn the exact spot to jump or you're just going to hit that cunting fence. And you're going to have that with a lot of stuff. The game feels bloody endless, but it is good fun and it is its own beast. Worth trying. Next game is one that you have to try, although to be fair, in my opinion, it's the most crappy port of said game. It's Space Invaders. It is good, but I have to say the Atari 2600 version is a bit shit. I'm not a fan of it. Everything's too cramped. You can't go all the way left and you can't go all the way right, yet the bloody spaceships can. So when one's here, you're here, trying to shoot it, and that little bastard's like, no, I'm too far to the fucking left, or right, or whatever. Bastard. Next game, Star Raiders. I honestly can't remember it. Shit. Next game. This one, this one is one of my favourites, because I'll adjust the lighting quickly. Oh no, I won't have to. See that? Sega, cause fucking Star Trek. I love this game. I know a lot of people say it's crap, but they only say that because they haven't bloody figured it out. You can play this forever. It's foreverly changing graphically, very impressive. Takes a little getting used to with all the sections on the screen as to what's what, but this is very ambitious. So many things you can do in it. I say the game's called Star Trek. It's not. Its full name is Star Trek Strategic Operations Simulator. What a stupid fucking name. It's too bloody long. Came out in 1983. 1983. Fuck me, that's old. Awesome game. You should have that in your Atari collection if you have Atari. Next one. Bird vs. Camel. The Empire Strikes Back. It's very basic. It's literally one bit from the film. Taking down an Imperial Walker. What are these ones called? AT-ATs, I think? Or is it AT-ST? An STD. You're taking down an STD. Fun, but basic. Next one is fun again, not as basic, and it's still very hard to get. Star Wars. It's Return of the Jedi. You destroy the Death Star. The Death Star looks like a disco ball over some sort of disco dance floor. I shit you not, that's what it looks like. But the game is really fun. But it gets a bit boring after a while. It feels like I've done this again. Destroy the Death Star, that dies in a really graphically but cool way. But it's the same shit. Now we get to something truly impressive. I have two versions of this. I'll tell you why. It's Sword Quest. Earthworld. I don't own the other versions, which is a real shame, or any of them. I own Earthworld. Why do I have two? One of them's PAL, one of them's NTSC. I might have shown you them the wrong way around. No, that is the PAL one. Reason why I have a PAL and American version is they play out differently. And when I got this, I wanted to get further in the game. I have the booklet for the game, which I would love to show you, but I don't think we'll have time because this video is already going on pretty long. Yeah, I was following a walkthrough because I wanted to see how far I could get and then align it with this comic. The comic and the game go together, in case you don't know. There's secrets in the comic that applied to the game. It's really, really cool. But the walkthrough I was following didn't fit in with this at all, and I thought, what the fuck? Why is this walkthrough is bullshit? Alright, try another walkthrough. It's the same shit. The walkthrough said the exact same things that someone did, and that's because the PAL version has the items and the things you're meant to do with said items different to this one. Maybe not all of them. Maybe some of the items, what you have to do with them and where to put them is the same, but at least at the start, these two are different. That's why I got both, because I wanted to do the damn game, but the PAL one, no bugger had ever put a walkthrough up. Maybe someone has now, but then they had not. And I sure as shit couldn't find one. Super Breakout is our next game, and it's a paddle game, so bugger. It's everyone's played a version of Breakout as they've grown up. Fantastic game. This is obviously not the most fantastic one of it. Was Super Breakout the one made by what's his name from Apple, or was that just normal Breakout? Maybe it was just a normal Breakout, I couldn't tell you. Everyone's played a version of that, so it's fun, but it's definitely not worth breaking the bank on for the Atari. Next one is fucking Yar's Revenge. Must own on the Atari 2600. It just simply is a must own. This was made by the same guy that made Raiders of the Lost Ark and E.T. So he's made one of the best games and he's made one of the fucking worst. So fair play to him. He's covered that spectrum, hasn't he? You have to have this game or you have to have played it. This next game is one you should not play. I got it in mint condition with a mint box, mint booklet. Xenophobe. This game is terrible. I don't need to tell you anymore. It's shit. Don't play it. Next one is one you should play because I'm pretty sure. Yes, it is. I was having a brain fart then. 1982 Sega with Zaxxon. Isometric shooter. It's what it's meant to be. It's not on this. It's fucking 2D. Zaxxon was famous for being isometric and, like Defender, it was taking the shooter genre to a new realm. Fucking awesome in the way it was doing it. Nowadays, isometric angles and views in video games are a little bit fucking annoying. They're fine in like 2D tactics games like Final Fantasy Tactics and shit like that. In a shooter, bit annoying because you think you've dodged something and you haven't. Well, yeah, the Atari 2600 version is 2D, which is stupid. That is my collection of Atari 2600 games. I know this video might have gone on a little bit longer than intended. I have other Atari related stuff which I would have shown you, but I don't want this video to be too long. I hope you enjoyed going through this collection with me. I hope you did. I still think to this day, while the Atari has aged, it's still incredibly iconic, and these games are still incredibly cool, in my opinion. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please click like, comment, subscribe, and all that other pony. I'll see you next time, hopefully.